waxing, learning how to do carpet cleaning, learning how to do post-construction cleaning on top of the regular janitorial services. But
Correct.
that may not be the opportunity or the door that opens up for you to get these big accounts. Let's go into that, man. You told me a story about the guy from England. Let's go into that real quick and how that transpired.
Okay. Well, yeah, this it was one afternoon. This gentleman, young guy, contacts me and says, "Hey, we have a building in North Orlando that I want the front windows of the building clean." And I said, "Okay." He said, "How much are you going to charge me?" I said, "Well, I have to see it first because right now I'm just going by what you're telling me." So I head up there quick, and it was, the front of this humongous 60,000 square feet building. And we looked at the glass, and I said, "Okay, we can do it." I have, extension poles that are 30, 40 feet. But then, we were talking, and, he told me that he was from the UK, that they just bought this building about 6 to 8 months ago. And they're going to put up a window covering products for the entire U.S. It's the first presses that they have in the U.S. And
this is the company. This is what they sell. Like
blind, this is what they sell.
Got you.
State of the art window coverings. Stuff that I've not seen here in the U.S. I mean, you can program it with your phone, and very futuristic.
Awesome.
Big success, multi-million-dollar company in the UK and Canada and Asia. They have a company in Asia. So we were talking, and then I was just inquisitive because I'm always, I'm always prospecting, man. Always, all day, every day. So I asked him, I said, "Hey, by any chance, who's cleaning your building?" And he said, "Oh, a lady, but I'm not too happy with it." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." And he says, Do you clean buildings too?" I says, "Of course. We're a one-stop shop. We do it all." He says, "For real?" I said, "Yeah. Why don't you come in and let's do a walkthrough and just give me a price?" Sure enough, big 60,000 square feet building, about 12,000, 13,000 in office space, 40,000 in warehouse. The place has like 10 bathrooms. So I'm thinking this is a big opportunity. Floors to be stripped and waxed. So that same afternoon, I gave him a price. He says, "I have to forward it to Canada, which is their accounting office." I said, "Okay, that's fine." 2 days later, he calls me. He says, "Hey, man, send me a service agreement so I can sign. I need a company like you that's a one-stop shop.
I love that.
That could provide all the cleaning, floor care, carpet cleaning, power washing, window cleaning, and supplies. Bathroom tissue, paper products, soap, everything."
Yes, sir.
I said, "Yeah." So, and like I said, we're cleaning the building right now. They haven't opened yet, but it is that client is going to grow big time. And of course, because I'm there, I'm going to grow with them.
Absolutely. This is a great point too, man, because yes, you can do the janitorial business. You can get in the door like that and offer that service, but it definitely helps to be able to offer more services, specialty services. And tell me, this lead came from where again? Where'd you get this lead?
This lead came, ironically, it came from Angie.
Tell me about that. That was just something you said you were just testing out.
Yeah, I was just testing out, see what could come about. But then I found out that Angie has a section that's for business. Because some people could clean, residential windows, but they can't clean commercial windows. Because now we're talking, 10 feet tall, 10 feet by 4. We're talking, big windows. So you have to have the professional window cleaning equipment for it. And then, like I said, one thing led to another. And when I told him that we were a one-stop shop, he says, "You're the guy that I've been looking for."
I love that. You got me thinking too, man. I need to hop on Angie's, man, just to see what's out
like
there.
I said,
So,
you can, again, I can't, they can't promise anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, the Lord was on my side. I mean, that's the only thing I can tell you, man.
Yes, sir.
That, and then, we got another client like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I'm gonna run with the blessings.
Yes, sir.
And, like I said, I think that whoever wants to start in this industry, and I know, of course, it wasn't hard for me because I've been in it close to 20 years, but try to have that mindset to try to be a one-stop shop for these customers, because that's what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. The janitorial cleaning, the window cleaning, the power washing, provide supplies, clean carpets, clean ceramic tile, strip and wax floors, scrub LVT floors. Try to be a one-stop shop if you can. Learn, mentor with somebody. You could start on YouTube, how to strip and wax the floor, and get some insight. Because like I said, there's a big market for that. And one thing that I've noticed is that, and this is just my personal opinion, that that trade, a lot of people or a lot of companies, they don't know how to do it.
Right.
They don't know how to do it. They don't know, the machinery. They don't know the chemicals. So, be like me. Just be a student of the business.
Yes, sir. And just a practical point on that too. Something that you could do, like me. One thing that I used to do, getting started, is I would call my stepdad, who's been in the industry for so many years. I would call one of my other mentors who helped me out, helped me get started. I would ask them, "Hey, what would you do on this one?" And I would just let them know, actually, just help me do it. This opportunity, we can split it, whatever. And they would help me figure out how to get that going. Another thing that you could do too is find these people. That's one thing that I did when I first got down here. Is when I would have a job come up, like a big carpet cleaning job that I didn't have the time or space to be able to do, like the availability, but my client asked for it, I literally would go to these Facebook groups and I would post the job, basically all the details, and I would get maybe 3 or 4 people who would reach out to me, direct message, and I would just vet them through there. I'm asking them for photos, reviews. I'm asking them for, their just all their credentials. Like, hey, what you got? Show me what you got, basically. And that's how I found my pressure washing guy, who is just great. My carpet cleaning guy, as well as my guy that strips and wax floors, who we've done several jobs with. So that's another good point. And then if you do want to get into it yourself, like what I used to do when I was in Arkansas a lot, is I would just go rent the machine. I would go to Home Depot and rent the machines. That's one place to start.
You can of course, some of this machinery is not, even though you buy used, it's still not cheap, but be creative. Go to Home Depot, go to these heavy equipment companies. They have floor divisions. Mm-hmm. You can rent a scrub machine for, I don't know, $75 or $75, $80, something like that.
Yep.
For the day or the weekend or whatever it is, and just factor that cost in.
Yep.
It's especially with a strip and wax job, because that's the more labor intensive, and that's where you're going to get, a larger amount of payout. Mm-hmm. When it comes to floor services, but still, they rent carpet machines and stuff like that, or sometimes in Facebook Marketplace, go from there. like I said, I mean, I was blessed, for the fact that I personally know how to work all these machines.
Yes, sir.
I've done jobs by myself. I know how to do it personally. So it's like I said, just, look for a mentor or, I've mentored people. I mean, I helped my cousin in Atlanta open his company, 7 years ago. And actually I went up there because he called me one day and said, hey man, I have this doctor that wants me to strip and wax these floors. I have no idea how to do that. I said, are you serious? Is he going to give you the job? He said, yeah, the job is mine. I don't have a machinery. I don't know nothing. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll hop on a car on Thursday. I'll head up to Atlanta and I'll train you and we'll do the job together. He got it quick. We did the job. I just told him, I said, hey, just buy me a steak dinner, man. Just for the ride. That's it. And right now he's making very good money with special services, carpet cleaning, strip and wax jobs, power washing. So he is, every time I talk to him, he's very thankful that I helped him. And, like I said, just passing along the knowledge of 20 years, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely. I love that a lot right there too, man. And speaking of that I want to go back to the job that you got with the 60,000 square foot building, man. What does that look like? Like, what does that look like? You go there.
This is like I said, they have about 12,000 square feet of office space. Mm-hmm. Two-story building. There's 10 bathrooms in the building. There's 3 sets of 2 bathrooms in the warehouse, and then the others are inside. Well, like I said, just again, it's easy now because they're just starting out the company. We're just cleaning certain areas. We're not cleaning every square inch of that building. Now, once they keep on growing and bringing in people and the manufacturing in the warehouse starts, then of course you're going to have office people, sales reps, people that design the blinds, that build them. So at that point, of course, they're going to bring in about 20 to 30 people. So of course now your break rooms are going to be dirtier. Your, conference rooms are going to be dirtier. So of course at that point we're going to grow in service days. And then, depending on how it goes, I may have to put 2 employees in there instead of 1. But of course, revenue, is going to grow because they're growing, I'm growing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what's something that you would recommend for someone just getting started and they bringing on a staff member, something like that? How do you make sure everything is running smoothly?
Well, right now I have kind of a CRM that is more towards, clients per se. But I do pay a lot of frequent visits and talk to the client during the day. That's how, because one of the things that I've learned in this industry, some people say, well, no news is good news. Well, no, don't take that for granted. It's just that there could be an issue or problem in the building, but because they're so busy with their day-to-day operations and what they do, they might forget to tell me, oh, by the way, your employee missed this trash can. Your employee missed this bathroom. She's not dusting. So what I've done, what has worked for me in all these years is I try to visit that client frequent. Hey, how are we doing? Being proactive instead of reactive. I think that's a big plus for you when there's no complaint, but you still show up and say, hey, customer, how's it going? And they're like, is something wrong? Why are you here? No, I just want to see that, make sure that we're taking care of you, that my employee's taking care of you, that we're not missing anything. And you don't know how much these clients appreciate that. because you're being proactive instead of reactive. Because reactive, anybody can be reactive.
Right.
But they're calling you and screaming at you because that trash can in the bathroom hasn't been taken care of. Versus you go there, nothing's happening. And they're like, oh, wow, they really care, which we really do. That's been one of my good fortunes in doing that. Showing up when nothing is happening, when there is no complaints. Another thing that's big also, Darian, is communication. Communication. Either via email or text or phone call. I don't know. For instance, you have a 2-day account, Tuesdays and Fridays, and, the employee's sick or car trouble, whatever. And they're like, hey, can I clean this building Saturday morning? Because I have full control of the building. I said, just a moment. Let me call the customer. Let them know that, hey, my employee's having a little trouble here. Can you give us permission to come and clean Saturday? You don't know how much they appreciate that and asking permission and communicating that we are going to come, but it's going to be Saturday morning instead of Friday. Well, they're there 5 days a week. Nobody's going to be there Saturday anyway. So they're good with it. So stuff like that clients, they once you show them that you're a company that cares, I mean, you won, man. You got them won over.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Right. That's what I've learned too. Just growing up in the industry with my parents. I like to say that we were the reluctant but fortunate first employees for my parents, because my
that always happens that way.
Yeah, man. They bought into this janitorial service when we 12, 13 years old. We like, all right, I guess we'll help out. And my stepdad started growing so quickly. He started getting more and more accounts through this franchise, because I guess he was doing a good job by himself, but then it got to a point where he was being stretched.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got to bring help in.
Yeah, man, and we started learning like that, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, all we really got to do is make sure we're showing up, getting this place looking right, putting some sort of care into it, you know what I mean, making sure it's done well every night, and he'll keep getting more buildings, or like somebody gonna tell about this person, you know what I mean, and that really stuck with me. Growing up, and just word of mouth that you care.
Word of mouth is big time in referrals. And again, you don't need a PhD to care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to put in your mind that this client is entrusting you in a $3 to $4 million building, whatever it is. All this equipment in here, mind you, some of them have cameras. But that, you have a reliable cleaning company that's coming in and you trust, and nothing gets stolen, and they're reliable. Just with that, you have a winning strategy. Just with that.
Yeah, that's great too, man. That's a huge weight to carry. They're putting a lot of trust on you and your team. Yeah. That's why it's very important to have good team members too. Tell me about that too, man. Like, okay, I'm just getting started. I just started my business. Just got my LLC. I'm excited. I'm going out there door to door, but I have no track record. I have no trust. What